Welcome to Life and Sirens, Behind and on the Scene, a podcast by first responders. We're your hosts, Sophie,
Jamie,
and Aubrey.
The content provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policies or positions of any medical institutions, emergency medical services, or healthcare organizations. Patient privacy is a top priority, and all discussions involving real-world emergency situations are de-identified and altered to ensure confidentiality. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional or your local EMS protocols before making any decisions regarding patient care or medical practices. Listener discretion is advised, as some topics may include discussions of real-world emergency situations.
Every medic has that one call, or couple, that stick with you. Not because of the trauma, not because of the chaos, but because you just can't explain it. You finish your reports, you clean the truck, and you clock out, but something about it follows you home. Maybe it was a patient who knew your name before you ever said it. Maybe it was a house that felt wrong the moment you crossed the threshold. Tonight, we're turning down the radio chatter, dimming the lights, and sharing stories that have lived in the quiet corners of these two medics' memories. Welcome to another episode of Life and Sirens. This is your very short and sweet, spooky Halloween special. So our first report comes from AJ, a medic out of Washington. He starts, "So I'm not one to believe in this kind of stuff, but I had to share this because it's been bugging me. A few shifts ago, we had a call for this patient acting strange. And the minute we walked in, they looked at us and said, 'Next time you work, I'll be there in the shadows.' They were muttering stuff about curses and how do we feel when we tried to save other people. We figured it was just some psych call that, we run every shift. And we moved on. Next shift, though, stuff happened and I can't really explain it. The lights and sirens kept cutting out, just for a second. Which has happened once or twice before, but never the sirens, just the lights. But no big deal, until the monitor printed out some weird lines that weren't really anything, and no patient was attached. And then our IV box fell off the bench seat while we were driving, and it was buckled in. And then our jump bag unzipped itself, which probably could have been loose, but after everything that happened that day, it just felt off. I don't really believe in curses or anything, but it's been stuck in my head, Could have been a coincidence, but man, it was weird. Sophie, Jamie, Aubrey, love what you guys do on the podcast. Keep it up. You help us get through the crazy shifts like this. I think we've all had some really crazy shifts, and I think, that was pretty spooky, AJ. Can't really explain that one. But it can get you thinking, that's for sure. Sometimes it's not what you see that gets under your skin, it's what stays with you after. And sometimes it's the silence. Our next story comes from Riley, a medic out of Louisiana who sent us a radio report about a house, a Bible verse, and a call that still echoes down a lonely road. Hey y'all, first off, I gotta say I love the podcast. Like legit love it. I found you on TikTok during a 48 and been hooked ever since. It's wild that you guys are so real about the job, the burnout, the dumb calls, the dark humor, all of it. My whole station listens now. We'll be sitting in the trucks, listening to the radios, and someone goes, "Hey, new Life and Sirens episode is out," and the bay goes quiet. Well, thank you, Riley. Thank you for listening. Thank you to your team, and we are excited to hear your story. Anyway, since it's spooky season, I had to send y'all this story. I feel like every medic's got a couple. They just kind of stick with you. And this one, it kind of messed me up for a bit. I did change things, and I will admit, I did change the road name to make it a little spookier too. Thank you for adding that vibe, Riley. So we got toned out around 3 a.m. Unresponsive male, unknown age, caller states the patient is cold and not breathing. The patient address popped up and my partner groaned, "Hollow Creek Road." If you're from our parish, you know that road. one way in, no cell service, and it always feels weird down there. So we roll out, no lights, no sirens, because no one's on the road. The moon's out, the fog is thick, the headlights kept cutting through it, but barely. Another reason we didn't have our lights on. Dispatch says neighbor called because the lights have been on for 2 nights straight, and they found the person cold. House looked abandoned from the start. Sagging porch, mailbox leaning like it gave up. I joked, I bet there's raccoons living in there that are way cooler than anyone who's living inside. My partner didn't even smile, but whatever. I was just excited to see some raccoons. We get up to the door, knock a few times, nothing. The door creaks open just from our knocks. Then the smell hit, instantly. Not that full-on decomp smell, but heavy, like mold and old metal. We step inside, and it's quiet. No dogs barking, no fridge hum, no ceiling fan, nothing. In the living room, there's an old dude sitting in a recliner facing a TV with a blank blue screen. I mean, straight up weird. Skin's pale, eyes half open, obvious DOA, modeling up the mid-thigh, rigor has set in. But here's where it got weird. The thermostat read 84 degrees. The heater was blasting. I remember standing there, sweating in my uniform jacket, while the guy in front of me was literally stone cold. Not just DOA cold, stone cold. I go to find a wallet or meds, maybe next of kin, and there's a Bible open at the end of the table. Verse circled. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. I remember saying to my partner, well, that's unsettling, trying to break the tension, but it didn't work. We call PD and the MEI and start gathering scene information. Our supervisor's on the way. I'm in the middle of my narrative notes when we hear this low, slow thump, like someone is shifting their weight upstairs. I stop typing, partner looks at me, and we both hear another one. Thump. I get on the radio. Dispatch confirm PD's on scene. They say negative and their ETA is 10 minutes. So I call out, like any good paramedic. EMS, anyone upstairs? Nothing. But you know that feeling when your hair stands up before your brain catches up? Yeah, that. We start up the stairs, because what else do good EMS providers do? The dust is thick as snow on those steps, and every time we take a step, our boots leave a print. Halfway up, we hear breathing. Raspy, wet, like somebody's trying to hold back a cough. We freeze. My partner's got her flashlight up, and we're scanning the top landing. Nothing. I call out again. There's nothing. Silence. We keep moving because we're dumb like that, and it's 3 a.m., and our adrenaline is now rolling. We get to the top, there's a long hallway, and all the doors are shut except one that's cracked, about an inch. And it's the first door. I push it open, and the smell hits first. It's cold, dusty, and wet wood. There's nothing in the room except a single twin bed, and it's just a frame. And there is a door on the far wall. That door? It's padlocked from the outside. My partner's like, nope. And I'm right there with her. We head back downstairs, and PD finally shows up. We do a walkthrough together. Upstairs looks exactly the same, except I swear to God, the padlocked door, it is wide open. The MEI shows up and looks at the guy and says, I don't even know if I believe this, but this ain't the first time at this house. Apparently, the last tenant died in almost the exact same way, heater on full blast, and their Bible in their lap. We clear the scene. I'm writing my PCR in the truck on the way back. My partner's driving. I just couldn't shake how wild and unsettling that call was. I still can't really make sense of it, and honestly, I don't even believe in paranormal stuff like that. I know it sounds crazy, but I swear on my license, that's exactly how it went. That house still shows up on dispatch sometimes as a welfare check. Then crews go and they never find anyone. And sometimes the neighbors call for those lights upstairs being on for days. Anyway, thanks for reading my story. It would be kind of the coolest thing ever if this makes it on the pod. Love what y'all are doing in the field and making it feel okay to talk about the weird and the heavy stuff that we usually shove down. Stay safe out there, and if you ever end up on Hollow Creek, don't go upstairs. That was very sweet, Riley, and very, very spooky, and I think that your spidey senses were tingling, and I do think it's kind of funny where you were like, and as any good EMS providers, we go to investigate, because I think we all know on DOAs, we just want to be like little detectives. So that was a little bit funny, but a little bit scary. In EMS, we tell ourselves we don't believe in ghosts. We say it's fatigue, adrenaline, or the tricks of our mind. But sometimes when nights get too quiet, your spidey senses, they just start tingling. I know most of us don't believe in ghosts, but I sure do. That's for sure. I think we all have that story or a few where we can't explain. The vibes were just off. And maybe it's not a haunted house that scares us. Maybe it's just those spooky moments. The ones that remind us this job lives somewhere between life and whatever comes next. Thank you guys for writing in, and thank you for spending a few minutes this Halloween with us. If you've got a story of your own, or something strange, or unexplainable, or maybe just a good call, or maybe you just want to talk about something, we want to hear it. The link to submit your radio reports is in the show notes below, or you can visit us at www.lifeandsirens.com, and you can find it there. But until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and I guess, according to Riley, don't go upstairs. Also, if you're working today on Halloween, or if you're listening to this on Halloween, I hope that you have a safe shift, and I hope that it is very, very benign. But we all know Halloween can get a little wild, and this year it's on a Friday. So stay spooky, stay safe, and we'll scare you later.
This has been Life and Sirens, produced by 3 nerds trying to bring you content that you might actually care about.